What's up, everybody? It's Dante, aka the Forensics Guy, and you are listening to the Forensic Experience, the podcast where we discuss topics in the speech and debate community with the world's most influential coaches, students, and alumni in the activity. And today, I am super, super, super. You don't understand how many supers I can add in there. Excited to be sitting with Katrina Lee, one of my old students from Brookfield East High School. I am super, super excited to introduce her, but I'm going to stop because I want her to be able to give us that introduction herself. So, Katrina, could you please tell us, who you are and what do you do for the speech and debate community?
Yeah. So hi guys, my name is Katrina Lee. Super excited to be here and thank you for having me. So I've done forensics and speech for about 7 years. I started when I was in middle school and I did it all the way throughout high school. I dabbled a bit in debate as well in the beginning of high school. And now I'm on my way to college. So yeah.
Awesome. And if I feel like the one thing you didn't get to tell us is, you were a state champion, right?
Yeah, so was a state finalist
Okay.
last year, and I also during my high school forensics career, I was an NSDA quarterfinalist and
Woo!
um, thanks, and three-time NCFL octo finalist.
That is awesome. You are a true, true inspiration to the community. You are doing amazing. Um, so I want to, like I said, kind of for most people who know and have been listening to these episodes, at this point, you probably, to the audience, already heard me do one or two of these episodes where I'm just kind of getting accounts from old students that I've worked with and really just trying to figure out, you know, um, their like legacy in the speech and debate community and the things that they have endured in order to get to where they are, and getting their insights on how they feel about the speech and debate community. And it would be awesome. I hope that all of them have some type of continued impact in the community as they continue to grow older. But that's all I could hope for. So let's start with that. So my first question is actually, Katrina, what was your favorite category? And I guess to be specific with that, I probably just say what was your primary category. But you never know. Maybe your favorite category is something that you've never tried. So, but what was your primary category when participating in speech and debate?
Yeah, so I did DI, which is dramatic interpretation. That was kind of like my primary category throughout high school. Um, yeah, it's really awesome, super fun. I absolutely loved it.
Awesome. I'm sure most people, that are listening, just as usual, they are probably newer speech and debate students, and they are wondering how can they be as great as the great Katrina Lee on this podcast. So I'm curious into figuring out, what was it that made you successful at DI, and what advice, I guess, would you give to those freshmen at Brookfield East that also want to do DI? Like, what's going to be able to differentiate them and hopefully get them to the top?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that I loved most about DI was um, how much of it is rooted in realism, and I think that's what differentiates someone who's like a really top-notch level DI competitor from the rest. So in DI, a lot of people, pull stories from memoirs, autobiographies, biographies, um, and the thing you have to keep in mind as you're doing all these pieces is that, you know, the stories that these people are about or whoever wrote them, they aren't just, you know, singular movements that make them a character. I know when people start getting into like the acting categories, they kind of think, oh, well, how should I move my hand this way? Or what certain movements or specific movements do I need in order to convey a point. And I think if you step back and look at the person as a whole, as a collection of experiences that has shaped the way they are and shaped their story, I think that will really help you develop that characterization and that layering that you need.
That is a really, really great point. I think that a lot of DIers miss that sometimes, and it's very, very important. I think to reiterate the fact for those listening that DI in its essence, we always look at. I feel like a lot of people look at speech and debate, and we hear speech and debate, and I think the first thing that really pops into people's minds is just debate. Usually, for some reason, maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
because it's the last word in that phrase, but and then when they're thinking of speech, it's always just the platform speeches, and we forget about DI. And so many people, when they perform DI, they do it in such a platform way, as opposed to trying to dive into the character. And as a person who also did theater and things of that nature, I think it's very important to try to emulate and bring more method acting into your scripts. When you're doing that DI, it's just literally just 10 minutes of presentation, but it should you should know the whole story around it. I think what you
Yeah.
alluded to, so that's a very, very important um, idea there, to just kind of continue to build yourself and your strength off of being able to perform in DI. So you have been doing speech and debate, you said, for 7 years. So you started in seventh grade.
Yep. Well, it's back in sixth grade. Yeah.
Sixth grade. Okay, awesome. Um, wow, that's crazy. That's amazing. So, um, what I know, I think one thing that a lot of states are missing is middle school speech and debate. It's
Right.
not the largest. Wisconsin is probably one of the largest states that have like a lot of middle school speech and debate students, and even at a very competitive level, which is really amazing to me. But with those extra years, do you think did that? Do you think that kind of gave you any type of edge that other, just solo high school students had, or what was some differences in general that you noticed from middle school speech and debate to high school speech and debate?
Yeah. I think for me, personally, I don't think I would have ever done high school speech and debate had I not done it in middle school.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So, well, before I did middle school forensics and debate, I used to be like this really shy person. And I like was so scared to talk in front of people. And funny story is I thought the forensics team was like forensic science, you know. So I just joined the team because that's what I thought it was. I had no idea it was speech and debate. But the first year I did like middle school forensics, I had a partner. I didn't want to let her down either. So I was just like, why not? Let's just go for it. Um, but it's that feeling that you take away from doing it all those years in middle school. Being able to not only one learn the techniques of public speaking, but also you learn a lot just from listening to other people's pieces, and that was the main takeaway for me. And I think getting that early introduction is what helped me a lot in high school to one, not only join a team, but also two, to really appreciate the beauty of forensics and
That is
speech.
that's awesome. Um, for those listening, all my coaches, maybe that took a marketing idea and walk into those science classes and say, hey, you should do forensics, and then they think it's something else, and then maybe you catch a few people. But I like that because I know that that is a very, very common mix-up.
Hmm.
I love forensics so much, and I've even had some elementary students in some of my classes in the past. They would join, and parents would be like, "Oh, this is awesome! They're going to do some research on some dead bodies and some other stuff." But
Yeah.
initially, it was very, very far from that.
Hmm.
So some some parents might have been a little sad, but they still stayed, and it's really awesome that you were in the kind of in the same boat. You know, you thought it was kind of sciencey, just a little bit of fun with some science in there, but it ended up turning into something significantly different. And I can definitely, at least from me noticing you in so many ways, I feel like it changed your life. So that's awesome. Um, yeah, that just makes me happy. That's amazing. So in its essence, one thing I'm kind of curious about is I know that um, in its essence, forensics is kind of something that a lot of people are, figuring out now, and it's getting a lot larger in different states, and they're starting to experiment with so many different things that are, different in different coasts and the Midwest versus the West Coast and things of that nature. So there's categories like radio that doesn't exist really anywhere else, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Did you ever try any of those categories like radio or news? What was it called in middle school? News reporting. Did you try
Oh
any
yeah.
of those?
Yeah. I honestly would have loved to. I didn't actually try any during my experience, but those were categories I loved watching.
Yeah,
Um, and I just always thought they were so cool, and they would have been so fun to do. But no, unfortunately, I didn't.
that's fair. I'm always curious to just kind of see what experiences people had. So was DI that was your DI was your main category?
Yeah.
Did you try any other categories, or were you just kind of one track minded, just like I'm gonna do DI and do my absolute best and don't mess with anything else?
Yeah. So in when I first started out, I did infomercial. So
Okay,
this was in middle school, and then I did storytelling. And then I did 1 year of DI in eighth grade, and then in high school, I think I did poetry and prose, and then POI, which is program oral interpretation, and then OIL, which is basically poetry and prose together,
yeah.
but in one category. So those were some of the other categories that I did.
Nice. And for those listening, I know a lot of states don't all have storytelling, so that is, yes, that is a category. If you're familiar with nationals, you do know storytelling, but out here it is a primary, or I shouldn't say out here because I don't live in Wisconsin anymore. But out in Wisconsin, it is a primary category. And then for those also that don't know, infomercial. I don't think there's any other. I don't think there's any state that even has infomercial at all. That's just such a unique category.
Yeah.
But if you've never done infomercial, it is literally exactly what you're hearing. Like infomercial is the best tribute to Billy Mays. So yeah, it's a fun category to try out.
Yeah, for
If you
sure.
ever fly to Wisconsin, anybody let me know. Maybe I'll help you with the ticket and give you a chance to do a little infomercial. But that's awesome that you did infomercial storytelling. Those are, I think, in its essence, those are really great categories that have to do and lead up to being great at DI. I think story. I mean, as most people don't know and don't think about too often, I feel like storytelling is the original category. You know,
Yeah.
it's meant from the forum. It was the original way to gain people's attentions, to be creative, to have an opportunity to have like a platform and just be so charismatic with the way that you tell a story. And that's all DI is. DI is literally storytelling, except you also are including a few extra things like the script and how you're gonna block and things of that nature. It's a very calculated storytelling, which is really cool to think about for those who aren't that familiar. So if you've never done storytelling, if your state has storytelling, I honestly would say that's the first category that anybody should try if it's even available in your state. Most states should have it because it is the first, it's the primary category, honestly. Um, but oh man, so I want to dive a little bit into um, your experience and you kind of having the opportunity to be at an amazing school, top 300 school, Brookfield East, and at least top 300 is what I mean, student debate. Even though it is like the number one school in the county, high school at least. But it's such an amazing school for those who aren't familiar with it. As being a person who worked there and coached student debate, it was a privilege to be there, and I had the honor of being a student as well with some amazing coaches and also working with some very, very dedicated students like you.
Thank
But
you.
of course, um, but I'm kind of curious. I know that I like, if I'm not mistaken, because yes, you're a senior now. So were you a freshman during my first year there?
I was a freshman in 2016.
Okay, so
So
I think that might have been my first year.
yeah,
Or yeah, yeah, I think that was my first year. Okay, I was gonna say because I know, just in even honestly the past like 6, 7 years total, like the team has been under a lot of different changes and
yeah.
changes. Like I was there for like 2, 3 years, and then Mr. Meyer, who's an amazing dad and coach, has been doing really great things with you all, and I'm super proud of that. And then you got Justin and some other great coaches, and big rest in peace to one of the, like, honestly, one of my favorite coaches of all time, Steve Sexton, who has done some amazing things. Have been coaching for longer than you and I have been alive, combined. So it's just really awesome to have worked with so many great coaches. Um, but I guess to kind of move forward, and before I get too sappy, is to kind of ask, what were a two-parted question is, what was something at Brookfield East that if you were the coach, would you change in the system, and
Mhm.
then if you were the coach as well, what is something that you're like, no, this is perfect, and I'm so glad we are doing this. We're going to keep this. I hope we keep this forever. The one thing that we're doing really great as coaching staff.
Yeah. So I think I mean, my team is phenomenal. One thing I definitely would not change is the incredible amount of support and team spirit that is like the main driving force of the team.
Definite.
I feel like my freshman year, like freshman in high school, I was like really scared to perform my piece in front of anyone. But then like specific seniors like Sean Black, Bella Heindick, I mean, they were there for me every step of the way. And like their support and enthusiasm is probably what got me to stay in forensics in high school. So that, like, and that from the coaches too, not just team members. Like that's my favorite thing about the team. Um,
Definite.
yeah, for sure. If I had to change anything, um, I'd say we have a tendency to do everything last minute. Um, myself included. Yeah, I had a terrible habit of like cutting my pieces at 2 a.m. in the morning. And the day before the day of the tournament, actually. So yeah, maybe make sure everyone's on track, stuff like that. But I feel like that's just us high schoolers, just procrastinate and do everything at the last possible minute.
That is very true and very fair. I know. I mean, I don't even think that's high schoolers. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
coaches that are listening are like, yeah, that's me too. So, yeah, it's definitely it's a human trait that we all need to work on. Let's try to
yeah.
procrastinate a little bit less today.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a great point to bring up, and I'm yeah, glad you brought that up. As is a idea for some coaches, that are probably listening and thinking about some of those words that you said, and maybe there's some things that you can implement into your team as you're listening, you all. But I definitely know that no team, no structure, no format is truly perfect, and it always takes time. And it's really awesome when you can just be 100% real and realize, what are we doing well and what is it that we can, change and get better about. And I think that this comes at a very, very, very specific time, especially right now. I'd say it feels very timely.
Hmm.
For those that are listening, I don't think this episode will come out until I think like late July. But at the time we're recording, there's still a lot of tension and a lot of things going on, specifically with Black Lives Matter
Yeah.
and movements that are affecting our country. And it's honestly a moment to think about. I feel that as a country, we're a little late. We are. It looks like we're finally making some things happen. We're finally, as in the words of Katrina, basically cutting our pieces, and trying to get things to work out. But we're definitely doing it late. We're definitely doing it the night before, and unfortunately, in the case of people like George Floyd were doing it the night after, and it makes no sense to cut your piece after you've already presented. So, in this world, we're definitely trying to hopefully get better, and I hope that we do, and I hope that we have a lot of changes for um, not just African Americans in our country, but just overall everything. I know that I want to specifically make the speech and debate space a lot better, and there's a lot of things
Hmm.
that I hope to do that will hopefully change that in the future. So I'm continuing to ride the train of making the world a better place if I can. But as I said, that was it felt very timely, and very notable to be able to say that. So I'm glad that I was able to mention that and theoretically be as unapologetically black as I can. Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, and
Um,
also you brought up like
yeah.
a very good point when I was like listening to you say that. Another thing about speech and debate too, I think,
Uh huh.
if I could add on to like what I said previously about like not procrastinating is, like when you enter that room, you learn so much, not just like watching other people perform, but like about all these stories, that make you really think about the world around you. That's like kind of vague, but like for example, you're talking about Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Um, like I don't think how many people realize, um, or like I myself, I didn't realize how systemic it was, like how racism itself was a system and it wasn't just directly a result of the system.
Yeah.
And so, but like, watching several pieces about that in the forensics arena, that really helped me see that. And I think, like, as coaches, as competitors in forensics and debate, if we can see beyond like the trophies and all the accolades that you can accumulate at the end of the year, and really start looking at, what can we learn from each piece that we see, I think that will really make your experience way more meaningful and engaging. If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
That is no. That is. I'm so glad you said that. I think that that's a really important place because, um, as we start to think about, especially DI, like I said, it comes from storytelling, and with that as a category, this is a lot of people would, I think the opinions are changed now, but there probably was a period in time where people were like, this isn't the platform, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But now I can definitely say that it is, and I'm glad that most people can agree that like speech and debate is so awesome because you get the opportunity to tell your story. You can literally pick any category and do it in a way that gives you an opportunity to tell your story, to share your passions, to share your loves, your dreams and hopes and all of that. If
Mhm.
you I think that it's tough for a lot of people to find love for speech and debate, but I know for myself as a coach, especially when it came to recruiting middle schoolers, I was lucky in the fact that a lot of people have told me like, oh, kids just join because of you. You're just Dante and the fun
Mhm.
guy that people just want to compete with and be on the team with. I'm like, okay, great,
Yeah,
but
for
like
sure.
there are always people that don't fall in that line, and I'm always trying to figure out how can I get them excited, and I think it's just by figuring out their excitement. There are kids who are like, well, I would never do speech and debate. I love basketball, and I'm like, okay, let's find out how we can take that and make that exciting. Let's do a OO about how we should or how the NCAA ought to pay their college performing students. It doesn't have to be like $1 million a year, like real basketball players, but you know, they definitely should receive some type of compensation. Or you can do a poem about how much you love to play basketball, or let's do a DI about a young student who I don't know was doing playing basketball and some tragic happened and now he's getting his degree. It's I don't know something. I'm just obviously spitting off the top of my head, but there's so many ways to take stuff that you love and stuff that you really want to be passionate about and make that come through when doing speech and debate. Because speech and debate gives everybody the opportunity to have a platform, and that's probably my favorite thing. I know that there are a lot of dividing lines when how that platform should be used sometimes, but in its essence, it's awesome to just see that there are people using it for the betterment of the community as a whole and being able to tell stories that will be able to move us and be able to change our viewpoint on everything.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, no, I think that's so great. I am, yeah. Oh man, glad that you were able to also provide that answer and kind of talk a little bit more about that. For those listening, I yeah, hope that this episode was able to bring you a lot of ideas, a lot of things that you would want to do within your speech and debate community. And hopefully, some of these answers were able to kind of help you think about, how you can change your speech and debate team in the future. And as we go through these current times, with having to perform DIs now, probably with mask on, we're, just trying to, come to a place where we can all um, do it together and do it in the best way possible. So, um, yeah, I'm like I said, I'm just kind of spitting, but I am very, very, very grateful that Katrina was able to join me on the episode today. It was an honor to have her, and I just from not being able, not having, well, I did see you last year, so it's been like a year since I've seen you because I saw you at nationals.
Mhm.
But not being able to truly get the opportunity to be around her and all of my old students, I kind of miss that feeling of having such a great program of kids to be around, and they definitely changed my life as much as I hope in some way I changed theirs. So thank you again, Katrina, for being on, and for those listening. Um, if you want to join in on the conversation, feel free to leave a comment down below, or you can DM me on my Instagram or TikTok, Twitter, whatever. At the Forensics Guy. I'm always checking those and always on there. So feel free to comment, or you can sign up for my email list. I totally forgot I have an email list, but people have signed up for it recently, so I'll add them and continue to send out monthly emails. But yeah, feel free to join in whichever way you want to and continue to support the podcast. So, once again, a big thank you to Katrina. And I am super excited that you all got to listen to this episode. I'll continue to tune in every Wednesday, and you will be able to hear more from the forensics experience. I will talk to you all later. Peace out.